What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. So, the NFL announced all of the international games for this season. Week 1 is the first one will be in Brazil. The Packers are going to be facing off against the Eagles. That will be in Brazil. That's going to be at 8:15 on Peacock, so it's obviously you had a wildcard game in the AFC Chiefs-Dolphins beyond Peacock this past season. So that's going to be basically like a Sunday football game kind of thing. So that game is going to be in Brazil. Packers Eagles. That should be a pretty good game. Eagles on paper, they should be a good football team. Obviously, last year they had a collapse at the end of the season. You know, Wall Street against the East, and they got blown out by a 9-win Bucks team on the road in the playoffs, and Packers should be a good team as well. We're also going to have the a Germany game from the Giants and the Panthers. That game, trying to find the date. I'm not sure what date it's going to be. I don't think they named it yet, but they're going to play in Germany. Germany had that incredibly great crowd last year. You know, they were singing "Country Roads," "Take Me Home." You couldn't even hear the game. That was a crazy crowd. And then, of course, for the London games, it will be Jets Vikings on October 6th. All the London games will be at 9:30 in the morning Eastern Time. All will be on the NFL Network. Jets Vikings October 6th. October 13th will be Jaguars Bears, and October 20th will be Patriots and Jaguars, because Jaguars always play in London. You know, I think they purposely make these international matchups really mediocre on purpose, because the games are at 9 o'clock in the morning, 9:30 in the morning. So who's getting up that early, on a Sunday when the rest of the games don't start till 1 o'clock? And, also for the teams, it's extra travel and it's extra preparation you gotta do with, extra rate you gotta make with practice. So, like, they might not play as well. So they take that into account. So, like, Jets Vikings, like, the Jets could be really good, but also could be really bad, depending on injuries and other things. And I guess the Jets, Kirk and the Vikings shouldn't be that good. Jags Bears, I mean, Jaguars should be pretty good, but depends. Is Trevor Lawrence really this generational guy? Will he turn into that, or will he be mediocre again and prove that he might actually be a bust? The Bears on paper have a chance to be very good, but it all depends on Caleb Williams. And then Patriots Jaguars. I just Jaguars again, like I just said, and Patriots probably won't be all that great. For a very young team, obviously going into a new era with Bill Belichick no longer there, and now Drake May as their starting quarterback, most likely. So those are the international games. And then Giants, Panthers, and Germany. So, yikes. Panthers are probably going to suck again. And I think the Giants will be very good. Okay. A couple of other games that were announced. Falcons Eagles are going to be played in week 2. That will be the home opener for the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, the first game of the year will be in Brazil. So the first game in America will be week 2, and it'll be at home. They'll face off against a fellow bird team, the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, Falcons made a lot of moves in the offseason, including bringing in Kirk Cousins. That should be a pretty good game. And then Chiefs-Bills will be in week 11. Of course, they have a pretty heated rivalry in the AFC. Obviously, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. So they face off pretty much every year. Those games are always very, very good. So that game will be in week 11. And the full schedule is going to be announced tonight on NFL Network at 8 p.m. So we should get some more details on that once that gets released tonight at 8. A couple have been leaked to kind of squeak through. Of course, they just announced the international games, I think, pretty early this morning. They leaked through. But the full schedule, I believe, is going to be announced tonight. And Netflix said they signed a 3-year deal with the NFL, and they now have the rights to stream the Christmas games in the NFL for the next 3 years for 2026. And by the way, I don't want to hear anything from all these old heads and these boomers about, like, oh, why are you putting NFL games on streaming services? Come on, really? Is that big of a deal? The same people that complain, oh, I gotta pay $10 a month, or freaking $5 a month, or $2 a month for Peacock, and $10 a month for Netflix to watch a couple of NFL games, are the same people that pay $60 for a couple of hours to watch one boxing match. The other matches you're in like those boxing and UFC pay-per-views you don't care about. It's just the main event. And sometimes the main event lasts 2 minutes long and the guy gets knocked out and it's over. Remember the second fight between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder? That fight was probably the most hyped up fight of my lifetime. I'm not a huge boxing guy, so maybe it's because I just don't follow. That fight was so hyped up that was on ESPN every day for months. I was one of the very few boxing matches I've actually been excited to watch. I watched it with my dad at his friend's house. There was a bunch of other matches. I was like, all right. I was like, whatever. I was waiting for this main event. I was like, when's it gonna come? They kept showing them in their training rooms. And finally, they got there. Tyson Gypsy King Fury comes out, and Wilder comes out in his stupid costume thing. And then by the second round, it looked like Deontay Wilder's legs didn't work, and then he's the fourth or the fifth round, his freaking trainer threw him a towel. I was like, all right, enough of this crap. The fight was awful. I was looking at some of my dad, we stayed up till 2 in the morning to watch that. That was horrible. This guy Wilder could be the heavyweight champion of the world. That guy beat that dude in the first fight. What? Okay, buddy. Sure. But I don't get why people are so upset. It's the way things are going. Look at WWE. All their PLEs are now on Peacock. On the Saturdays. Starting in January, Monday Night Raw will be exclusively on Netflix. SmackDown September is going to go on USA Network. I would not be surprised if in the next year or two, SmackDown will be on streaming. I don't know what the terms of the deal is for, of course, Fox going to lose SmackDown, so going to go to the USA Network where Raw currently is and has been for a while. So USA Network will have both Raw and SmackDown starting September, and in January they'll only have SmackDown. I wouldn't be surprised if within 2 years they're on Amazon or something, or Peacock or Netflix or something like that. You had an NFL playoff game that was on Peacock last year. Now you have the Christmas game, which it's just a money grab. Last year you had what was it, the Black Friday game between the Jets and Dolphins at 3:00 in the afternoon on a Friday. The only people that could watch were younger kids who were home from school, or maybe the college kids that were possibly home from school, and people that were unemployed. They had nothing else to do. Everybody else was at work. So just the money grab, but don't have a problem with it being on Netflix. Also, everyone's got Netflix nowadays. Okay, everyone's got Netflix. Everyone's had Netflix for a while. Obviously, there's been footballs now on Amazon Prime the last few years. Everyone's got Amazon Prime. Everyone knows what Amazon is. With Jeff Bezos and all that. Most people have Peacock. It's $2 a month. I think it's a little more than that usually, but every year, there's always a Black Friday deal. 2 years ago, I got it for $1 a month. This year, I bought it for $2 a month. It's super cheap. And I get to watch all the wrestling PLEs, and there's some good movies and shows. And they're come on, what's the big deal? All right, I don't get why some of these freaking old people are. I think my dad was complaining oh, the playoff games on Peacock. I'm it's not a big deal. Not a big deal. Some of these old boomers kind of piss me off. But with that, let's close up the show with the NBA and NHL playoffs, as I have been doing throughout this whole playoffs. In the NHL, the Bruins forced Game 6. They beat the Florida Panthers 2-1. Big save from Jeremy Swayman in the final seconds of that game to keep the Panthers off the board and keep the game from going to overtime. Bruins win 2-1. But Jeremy Swayman, I'm surprised that he was not the starter. I know him and Noah were going back and forth the first couple of games. Against the in the first round against the Toronto Maple Leafs, eventually Jim Montgomery was I gotta start Swayman. He's just the much better goalie. He's very, very good. He's been great all playoffs. Boston forces a Game 6. And then the Oilers beat the Canucks in an incredible game 3-2. Edmonton went to Calvin Pickard. So Stuart Skinner has been really struggling in this playoff. They went to Calvin Pickard. It's a crazy story. He came up. Gary came up. Then he was in. He was a starter in Colorado, and they had that really bad 48-point year 5 or 6 years ago. But he actually played with Sarpsborg, considering how bad that team was. Then Vegas drafted him in the expansion draft, and then we thought he was going to get a chance to really shine and break out. Didn't really happen. He bounced around as like a backup for a couple of teams, was in the minors for a while for a bunch of teams. Last year he was in the minor leagues the whole year for the Edmonton Oilers. After Jack Campbell was let go by the Oilers because of how bad he became the de facto backup. And actually had a very strong year as the backup to Stuart Skinner. Didn't play a whole lot, but when he did, he played pretty well for them. He relieved Skinner last game when Skinner was struggling, and Chris Malbach, their coach, he went to Picker this game. He said, he's played well for us. He's going to start all the players at the percent leading up to the game, and Edmonton played very well in front of them, only let 21 shots a game. I saw a stat. Vancouver is averaging the second or third least amount of shots per game for a team ever in the playoffs, for a team that's in the second round of the playoffs. They're only averaging 20 or 21 shots a game in this playoffs. That's really low. Especially considering they were the second best team in the conference. And they're one of the teams in the league, and a lot of people pick Edmonton to win this series. I thought Vancouver would win it in 7, but big win for Edmonton. They were up 2-0 going into the third in this game. Then Vancouver came back and had tied. They scored a goal, probably the earlier part of the third period. Then they tied it with a little over a minute left, but then not even a minute, about a minute later, of 40 seconds left or 30 seconds left, Edmonton took the lead. So crazy game. That's been a phenomenal series. That series has tied 2 games apiece. For the NBA playoffs, the Knicks beat the Indiana Pacers, destroying them at Madison Square Garden, 121-91, another 30-point game between these two teams. Knicks take this one as they go up 3-2. They will go back to Indiana up 3-2. Huge game from Jalen Brunson, 44 points and 7 assists. Knicks continue to defy the odds because have a ton of injuries. OG Anunoby misses third string with the hamstring injury. Obviously don't have Julius Randle, Bojan Bogdanovic, or Mitchell Robinson either. Brunson had a big game. Alec Burks, who's been out of the rotation for a month now, stepped up with 18 points and 5 threes off the bench. A lot of different guys stepped up. Josh Hart played well. He's had a great playoffs overall. Hart had 17 rebounds. I think 12 of them were offensive. Knicks is absolutely dominating this game, and they are up 3-2 going to Indiana. And the Nuggets beat the Timberwolves 112-97. They have won 3 straight. They got 3-2 in the series going back to Minnesota. 47 and 13 assists from Nikola Jokic was absolutely incredible. I don't understand. They had 2 bad games. Everyone thought the defending champs, this perfectly built team, the MVP, the league, every time the last 4 years, Nikola Jokic was going to roll over and die. Come on. They're saying they're going to get swept. Give me a break. They won 3 straight. They took both on the road, and they come back home and win one. I would not be surprised if they take Game 6. Nuggets win in, I think it might win in 6 game, but they win last night. Minnesota struggled. Anthony Edwards had a rough game. 18-11 from Gobert, but he's been struggling against Jokic all series. Towns just had a little over 20, didn't do anything special. Only guy who really played as well as he probably should have was probably Nickel Alexander-Walker, was only in there because Mike Conley, their normal starting point guard, was out. But Denver now leads that series 3 games, too. Only other guys I want to announce is the Hard Knocks for the NFL has been revealed to me. The New York Giants this year, they will be featured on Hard Knocks. This should be a pretty interesting one because the Giants, obviously, they're stuck with that, bad Daniel Jones contract. They brought in Drew Lock, and they're thinking he might start. And there's rumors they were going to draft the quarterback at 6, and they didn't. So that should be a pretty interesting Hard Knocks this season. Bring on Max. Bring on July 2nd. All right. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long, and have a great day.